take a minute to explain briefly, because there's people who are probably not from your ministry, the significance of the biblical Hebrew festivals.
Wow. Well, with Sukkot especially, we know from Zechariah chapter 14 that is during the Feast of Tabernacles that every nation has to come up to worship in Jerusalem during the Feast of Sukkot, and if they don't, they get the plague. They don't get any rain. And so for me, this is a very exciting time. Is something not working? We don't hear you out there. This is...
I could hear you perfect.
Okay, we were having trouble, so we wanted to make sure people could hear.
If you can't hear, if you're having technical difficulties, there's a chat box on the side. And you
okay, people say they can hear. What do you think? Don't you think it's fascinating that Israel was shut down during Pesach week, and now here again they're shut down during Sukkot? What do you see as the meaning of all this?
Well, I was thinking deeply about that because I was sad. I got to tell you, I was sad. And it says in Deuteronomy that you got to be happy. You have to be happy to go.
I can actually show you people here still celebrating despite the lockdown.
Come in.
Yoni is at the Western Wall, and he's going to show us people celebrating, okay?
Oh, well, great.
Let's see here. Speaker view. Oh, there we go. So what they're singing actually, Sheyi Baneh Beit HaMikdash, that may you build the temple quickly. Now, Pastor, you asked a great question of what is the significance of the fact that the country has been locked down at a time of great pilgrimage? And I was thinking about that because you probably know that it says in Nehemiah chapter 9 that when Ezra and Nehemiah came back, what did they do? They started celebrating the festivals once again, right? And it says that they celebrated Sukkot, which they hadn't celebrated for hundreds of years since the times of Joshua. How could that possibly be? How could that possibly be? What do you think? Let me hear your explanation.
Well, I think it's fascinating too. During Josiah's time, they said they hadn't held Passover for centuries, like nothing like that had ever been. I really believe it speaks of the restoration of our times, when again, I believe all the nations are going to be involved in learning about the feast and studying the feast, and it's going to be incredible. It's going to be absolutely incredible. The sad thing is, but we have to rejoice. So maybe I shouldn't say the sad thing, but it's people like Sanballat that are trying to come against what Israel's trying to do and rejoice.
Yeah.
Troy?
I am with you. Pastor, if I mute you, just unmute yourself, okay? Just because people have the option to unmute themselves. So I agree with you. I think that God is trying to teach us some kind of lesson here, how we're meant to celebrate Sukkot.
Troy!
And hold on. And we haven't been doing it in the right way for some reason, you know? And I think that this is God's way of saying, pause, reset, and we need to learn how to celebrate the festival in its proper way. And we got to learn that, because otherwise we got to open up the gates once again. We got to open up the doors to Israel once again.
Yeah, we want to make sure everybody's muted when they come in.
Correct. All right, so let me do that.
I can hardly wait to see the drone view over Joshua's altar.
Everybody's muted.
Yeah, you're gonna love that. You're gonna love
It's
that.
awesome.
Well, it says mute.
Speaker view, gallery view. All right, I'm just trying to figure out. I lost my ability to mute everybody. How did I do that? How did I lose that? I don't know. Where's my? Gotta mute everybody here. Give me 1 second. I want to figure this out. Remove all pins.
Well,
Oh. Okay. So,
So while you're doing that, shalom, Pastor Mark. It's Donna.
Oh, well, hi. Great seeing you.
Yeah.
You need to control your screen, Thule, also.
control my screen. All right, well, let Donna, I'm going to pin Donna. Donna Jolet is a great friend of mine and Pastor Mark's, and she could tell you a long time, but Donna's going to just briefly tell you about Jerusalem tours and the Yeshiva for the Nations.
Yes, yeah. And this is, there's so much that's happening all at the same time at this moment. There's so much prophecy being fulfilled. There's so much, things that have been queued up for millennia, but also things that have been queued up just in the last decade or so. And so how I actually became affiliated so closely with Rabbi Thule, Pastor Mark has a big, had a big involvement in that, whether he realized it or not, because I had been learning about the amazing feasts of the Lord, the eclipses on the feasts of the Lord, all that research that you had done with that. And Rabbi Thule and I had messaged a few times, and I asked him if he was aware, this is back in 2014, I asked him if he was aware, asked Rabbi Thule if he knew about these amazing feasts that were coming up that I'd learned from Pastor Mark. And Rabbi Thule said, no, tell me more. And so that started this dialogue. And then he's like, oh, I'd love to interview about this, for Breaking Israel News. And I said, well, it'd be better for you to talk to the expert. And so I got to connect Rabbi Thule and Pastor Mark together. And now we are doing this streaming from Jerusalem. The Torah is coming forth, streaming, flowing from Jerusalem, just like it says in Isaiah 2. And so I'm just, my little brain and this little human container can barely contain everything that's going on. So Rabbi Thule and I have been blessed to work together for several years in bringing people to Israel. And we've done a lot of stuff together, but we're so dedicated to this that I ended up buying a tour company since I saw you last, Pastor Mark. So I bought Jerusalem Tours, which of course I can't get anybody in the country right now. So this is actually the next best thing to do that. So I just want to encourage everybody, you're going to be going to places that most Christians don't go to. Pastor Mark would take you there, but he's one of the few pastors that's going to take you into the heartland of Israel. We're going to go places that your mind, get ready to get your mind blown. And we're going to go there virtually, but as soon as the country opens up, you'll be able to even set your footsteps there as well. So I'm just so excited, Isaiah 2, Zechariah 14, all the nations coming up to Jerusalem during the Feast of Tabernacles, during Sukkot. That's exactly what we're doing. Are lifting it up. So Hag Sameach, Hag Sukkot to everybody. And we all pray for the peace of Jerusalem. God bless you all. Get ready for a wonderful visit to the Heartland.
Thank you, Donna. Yeah, we are about to go on a visit to the Heartland, but like any good trips to Israel, so there's always some unexpected adventures. I hope we don't have any unexpected adventures, but you never know. And I just ask your graciousness and your patience. If we do have any technical difficulties, we're recording this. We'll send out the link to everybody. And I'm going to now share my screen, but we did this earlier in the day and it didn't work so perfectly. So if it doesn't work so great, just chat, that this isn't working out, and we'll move on to the next part of the program because we have a really great program for you. We're going to go to, but I wanted to take you straight. Yoni brought us to Jerusalem, to the Western Wall, and I want to now go to what's considered the second holiest city in Israel, and that is Hebron. So bear with me.
Yay.
while I share my screen, and we're going to go to my friend Yishai Fleischer in Hebron. Here we, oh, wait a second, 1 second. Give me 1 more second, share the screen, and here we go. All right, now I did it right this time. Yoni and I practiced. Yoni will be proud. I did it right this time. And if you can't hear, just chat it and we'll move on, okay?
Shalom, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me, Yishai Fleischer, here in Hebron, the tomb of the forefathers and mothers, on this Israel 365 amazing virtual tour of the land of Israel. What a blessing it is to be together on this holiday of Festival of Booths, Festival of Tabernacles, or Sukkot. We call it Sukkot. Now, the most intrinsic and important sukkah, or tabernacle, or booth that Jewish people stand under is the chuppah. That's where we get married, under a canopy. So husband and wife come together, and they come together in holiness, under the blessings of God, in order to create a couple, a real holy couple, and thereby create a holy family through that union. And so when I stand here at the tomb of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs, the tomb of the forefathers and mothers, I'm really standing in front of the tomb of the first couples, the first family of Israel, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and Leah. And so therefore, this building that stands behind me is a building that really represents love and family values. It's the original couples who came together to build a family and give birth to a nation. So I'm very excited to be spending the Feast of Tabernacles, Sukkot, with you here in Hebron on Israel 365's amazing virtual tour of the land of Israel, and it's a real blessing to be together with you. Shalom.
Okay, thank you, Yishai, for taking us to Hebron. Thank you so much. And how was that, Donna? How did that go? How was the tour of Hebron?
It was too short, but it was amazing, right? And it's just so mind-blowing to know that Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah are all buried there. And that, you know, the Muslims, Christians, Jewish people, this is accepted all over. This is like common knowledge. And we so rarely get to go visit there.
Shalom, everybody.
And so it's amazing.
Everybody, and thank you so much for joining.
Oh, sorry, Donna.
Oh, it's okay.
You said that Yishai was too short, so he wanted to come back.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
If the video is working, it wasn't working earlier, but I guess Pastor Mark has such strong connections.
I'm telling you.
That the video is loud and clear this time around. Well, that's fantastic, because what I really want to do is take you on a very, very special place. And that, of course, is the city of David, but not only the city of David, there's a special road that is called the Pilgrims Road that was recently dug up, and not a lot of people have been there. It's sort of, it's not open to the general public, but my good friend Zev Ornstein, so he's one of the heads over there, and he made an amazing video of like an off limits kind of place just for us. And this is on the Feast of Tabernacles, such an important place to go visit. So let's go to see the city of David, which is right outside of the old city. Here we go.
Shalom from the city of David, the historic site of biblical Jerusalem, the place where Jerusalem began. In 2004, all of this is underground. Archaeologists, as part of an excavation, discover here the set of ancient steps just behind me, 2,000 years old. And they realize there's only one other set of steps in Jerusalem that look just like these, and those are the southern steps. And they wondered, what is the connection between these two sets of stairs? The southern steps leading up to the temple, and the steps over here leading down to what they discovered was the Pool of Siloam, with deep significance to Christians and Jews alike. And they understood the Pool of Siloam was connected to what the Bible tells us, that there are 3 times during the year, Passover, Pentecost, Tabernacles, when all of Israel has to go on pilgrimage up to the temple. The historian Josephus tells us that 2,000 years ago, nearly 3 million people would have been going on pilgrimage. Now, before they can go on pilgrimage, they have to cleanse, wash, bathe, purify themselves. The Pool of Siloam is where they would do that, and from here, they would ascend up to the temple. Now, the archaeologists wanted to understand, how did all of those millions of pilgrims get from the Pool of Siloam all the way up to the Temple Mount? And that's what we're going to see right now. I want to welcome all the participants in the Christian Solidarity event to the Pilgrimage Road. This is the road that our ancestors, yours and mine, would have walked on some 2,000 years ago when they went on the pilgrimage journey, beginning at the Pool of Siloam all the way up to the footsteps of the Temple Mount. Not a road near here, not stones that look like these, but this road, these stones. When you think of the book of Psalms attributed to King David, when he speaks of the songs of ascent, of course it's referring to the spiritual ascent going up to Jerusalem, going up to the temple. But not only, because when you're in the place where the Bible happened, the words of the Bible come to life, the pilgrims would have been singing those songs of ascent as they physically ascended up the steps on the half-mile journey from the Pool of Siloam through the city of David up to the Temple Mount. You will not find a half mile with more significance to more people than the Pilgrimage Road being excavated now in the city of David, stretching from the Pool of Siloam up to the southern steps. There is not a half mile on the planet that has more meaning to more people than where we're standing right now. Archaeologists are uncovering, as we speak, homes, shops that have direct significance to the pilgrimage journey from 2,000 years ago, and in a few years' time, this will be open to people of all faiths and backgrounds to literally walk in the footsteps of the Bible. I'm standing here along the Pilgrimage Road in the city of David, inside a shop, one of many found along the road, where a pilgrim some 2,000 years ago, perhaps on the Passover festival, would have come here to purchase maybe a temple offering, maybe a bottle of water, a hat, a souvenir for someone who didn't come on pilgrimage. This was the economic center of Jerusalem some 2,000 years ago, where a pilgrim coming up from the Pool of Siloam would have stopped in one of these stalls, coming along the Pilgrimage Road on their way up to the temple on the Temple Mount. You could see it, you could touch it, you could walk it. This was Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. I'm sitting here on an ancient podium, the only one of its kind found in Jerusalem, and it's found here along the Pilgrimage Road. Now imagine 2,000 years ago on one of the pilgrimage festivals, you have millions of pilgrims going to the Pool of Siloam to purify, going up along the Pilgrimage Road to the temple. And imagine there's someone who has a message they want to share with the masses. Alongside of us over here are homes and shops where people are stopping to make their purchases before going up to the temple, and this person has a political message, a religious message, an ethical message they want to preach to the masses. They're going to go to where the people are, here in the beating heart of Jerusalem, along the Pilgrimage Road in the city of David. Now, along this very same road, archaeologists find thousands of coins, just like this one. And this coin dates to the year 67, the period of the Great Revolt, the Great Jewish Revolt for freedom against the Roman occupation of Jerusalem. And on this coin, it has the words in ancient Hebrew writing for the freedom of Zion, for the freedom of Jerusalem. Now, this was a hope, a prayer, a dream, because in the year 70, the Romans would destroy Jerusalem. But here we are in 2020, in Jerusalem, the capital of the Jewish state of Israel. And one today can go to the pyramids in Egypt, to the Colosseum in Rome. But both those civilizations are gone. You can visit them in museums. But when one comes to the Pilgrimage Road here in the city of David, this is not just a piece of history, this is a continuation of a story. Our shared story here in Jerusalem, the same faith, the same heritage, the same festivals and customs and traditions, and I look forward to sharing that story with you here in the city of David this year in Jerusalem.
All right. Well, thank you, Zev. Thank you, Zev. Now, let me ask you, Pastor, have you been to that Pilgrimage Road?
I am muted, I believe. I've been to the Pool of Siloam, and I've been in the City of David several times, and have seen, excuse me, part of the Pilgrimage Road, but not as much as they've uncovered.
Every time I'm there, it's like mind-boggling how they're uncovering things so fast, and the Bible is coming to life. You know, for centuries, you just had to have faith to believe in the Bible, and now you need eyes, and everyone could believe in the Bible because the stories are popping out of the ground, like it says that the ruins will emerge and the dust will come off from Jerusalem. And that is what is happening. Now, Yoni, God bless him, who is such a great host. Let me find Yoni because he, want to pin him here as well. Where is he? How do I pin him? Yoni's going to have to speak because Yoni is, where are you, Yoni?
Yeah, because
I'm right across.
we have 300 people, so it's a little hard to find people. Baruch Hashem.
Yes, Baruch Hashem. I'm standing outside the archaeological park called the Davidson Center, where the actual steps that led from the path that we just saw in the video end. And this is really, really close to where you would have been standing if you were getting a temple offering and going onto the Temple Mount during the Feast of the Tabernacles. So it's pretty incredible. You can actually see the end of the excavations that we just saw right here, this road.
That's great. Thank you, Yoni. Thank you so much. And we are now about to, before we leave Jerusalem, I wanted to take you with me. I was at the Western Wall earlier, and I wanted to give everybody a chance to have a private moment in Jerusalem, okay? And I know that this is really the time to be happy, but it's really the time to pray. And so I wanted to give everybody from all over the world a chance to pray in Jerusalem, okay? So we're going to go now back to the Western Wall, and let's see if, hold on. Stop share. Wait a minute. Oh, here we are. Okay, here we are. Shalom, everybody. Here we are at the Western Wall. And boy, it doesn't feel different than normally. You see behind me, there's all of these different areas for people to, be separate and social distance. Here at Judaism's holiest spot, where everybody comes on a visit to Israel. So I wanted to bring you here on our virtual tour of Israel. Come, this is the entrance to the Temple Mount, and this is the wall behind me that you see here is the western wall of the retaining wall around this temple, and so it's from 2,000 years old, from the times of the Second Temple, and since then we have always been coming here to pray. We used to pray on the Temple Mount, and now we're not allowed to pray on the Temple Mount, although that's changing. We come here, the Jews have been praying here at the Western Wall every day, whenever you come here, there's Jews praying, even at this difficult time. On Sukkot is probably, the Feast of Tabernacles is the most busy time of year at the Western Wall. It's normally packed, but that's okay. That's okay. God feels our prayers no matter what. So let's go down there and let's go to the wall, and we'll take a minute to pray at this special time of year, at God's festival, Feast of Tabernacles. Come with me. Let's go down to the Western Wall. Okay, hold on. I gotta here I have another. Want to move to the second video where we're actually at the wall. Bear with me. And that's the Kotel number 2. we are. We're approaching. There's these ultra-Orthodox Jews who are always here praying. They spend most of their day in prayer. And this is how they're separating the different prayer groups in its own pod or capsule, I think they're calling it. See, there's still people here. Still people here. There's always people here. Can't keep us away. And we're gonna go find an area that we can approach the wall and we can pray. I want everybody to feel connected to Israel. And here we are. I'm gonna take a minute, just look at the wall, and we'll pray. Just pray for whatever's in your heart, whatever words come to you. God's listening here. All right, well, I hope that if you want more time, so we'll send you the links to all of this and everybody could pray as long as they want, looking at the Western Wall. It's a very inspiring view. And let's just conclude our visit to Jerusalem, and then we're gonna move up north to...
Okay, before you move off of Jerusalem, while we're here, could you just quickly lead us in Shalom Shalom Yerushalayim?
Is always looking to bring prophecy to life. If we pray for the peace of Jerusalem, like it says in the Bible, so we know that Jerusalem means the city of peace. And we know that when there's conflict in Jerusalem, the whole world is a conflict, like there is now. Unfortunately, Jerusalem is living through a very unusual time. The corona is out of control, unfortunately, really out of control. And we're all under a very serious lockdown. And so Jerusalem has not a single person from the nations. You only hear Hebrew. Usually when you're walking around in Jerusalem, you hear languages from all over the world. Right now, you only hear Hebrew. And it's the Feast of Tabernacles. We're meant to hear 70 different languages from the 70 different nations. So let's all pray for the peace of Jerusalem, because when Jerusalem is at peace, then the whole world will be at peace. So Sha'alu, Shalom, Yerushalayim. You could say it with me. Sha'alu, to means to pray for, to seek out. Sha'alu, Shalom. Shalom means peace. Yerushalayim. Pray for the peace of Yerushalayim. All right. Well, thank you, Donna. That was actually a better ending than the one that I recorded anyways. So thank you for that. Pastor Mark, you have any final words before we leave Jerusalem and head up to Samaria?
I just can hardly wait till we can literally get back there.
That's right. That's right. All right, so here we go. We are now going to make our way north from Jerusalem to Samaria, and we are going to be welcomed by our good friend, Aaron Lipkin. Aaron, shalom, Aaron. How's the weather in Samaria, Aaron?
Shalom, everyone, and Chag Sameach from Samaria. Shalom, Pastor Mark. Warm greetings from my father, Avi Lipkin. Sends you his regards.
Yes, I know him well. Thank you.
Shalom, Aaron, Schweiz.
Ooh, Jonathan. Shalom, shalom, Miriam. So the weather is good. I actually cool a bit. I think we're getting closer into the fall and the winter, and so when we prayed outside of our house today, the morning service, because of the corona, we can't pray in synagogues. So we prayed together with all the neighbors, and it was a bit cool. So I asked my boys to bring me something like a jacket to wear because it was a bit cold.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about biblical archaeology. I know that you've dedicated so many years to uncovering the Bible through archaeology, and you're gonna blow our minds with what's coming next. So go ahead, take it away, Aaron.
Okay, don't forget to share my screen.
Absolutely.
Okay, I grew up in Jerusalem.
I just shared my screen. You confused me. All right.
I grew up in Jerusalem. My father is from the United States, Avi Lipkin. My mom is from Cairo, Egypt. I grew up in a traditional house. We were educated to believe in God and in the Bible. When I was 16 years old, my father came back from a visit to San Antonio, Texas. And this was the first time he visited an evangelical church. And he came to me when he came to Israel, and he said, Aaron, you have to come with me. You have to see this. And I traveled with him to San Antonio, and that was the first time I went into a church and met Christians who truly, wholeheartedly love Israel and the Jewish people. And that basically was the start of a voyage that is going on until today. And thanks to Rabbi Tully and Israel 365, we have a group of bridge builders, both Christians and Jews, that work together to strengthen this bond between brothers, between Jews and Christians. And so it's really a privilege to be here and to tell you about this magnificent biblical site that I grew to know in the last few years. And today it's probably my favorite biblical place in the land of Israel, a place that every time I go to, I feel God's presence. It's like this portal to heaven for me. And so I'm going to share that with you in the next. It's on. Next.
Aaron, you have to unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Aaron. Unmute yourself, my friend. Oh, there you are. Okay. Aaron, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can. Yes.
Okay, very good. So when I was a kid, when I was a kid growing up in Jerusalem, I believed in God. I believed in the Bible. And when I got to high school, we actually had Bible class in high school. And during those Bible classes, my Bible teacher said something that really infuriated me. She told us in class that the Bible is a fairy tale. It's a mythology. It never happened. Moses never existed. Joshua never existed. The Israelites were never in Egypt. There was never an Exodus. And there was never a conquest. There was never an invasion. And that all the stories that we grew up believing in the Bible were not true. And that really, really, really made me angry. And thanks to great scholars that I'm going to talk about and this amazing discovery, this whole concept is starting to change. And the reason why my teacher told me that when I was in high school is because at that time, the evidence for the historicity of the Bible was not as strong as it is today. So I'm going to share with you one of those places that really bring the truth of the Bible forth. So let's start. We all know about the ceremony of the blessings and the curses that's mentioned in the Bible. This is a very important ceremony. It's so important that it's mentioned twice in the book of Deuteronomy.
99 people.
The first place where the ceremony is mentioned first is in Deuteronomy 11. When the Lord your God has brought you into the land you are entering to possess, you are to proclaim on Mount Gerizim the blessings and on Mount Ebal the curses. Now, How do we know where these places are today? Very simple. The Bible gives us a very specific GPS pinpoint description of where these mountains are. As you know, these mountains are across the Jordan, westward toward the setting sun, near the great trees of Moreh, in the territory of those Canaanites living in the Arabah, in the vicinity of Gilgal. So this is very interesting. The Bible makes it a point to explain exactly where Mount Gerizim, the mountain of blessing, and Mount Ebal are. So let's see exactly where that is. Here we have a map of Israel. And what we're going to do now is we're going to zoom in into Samaria, Judea and Samaria, the biblical heartland of Israel. So we're zooming in into Judea and Samaria. Judea and Samaria are the area where most of the biblical stories happen. This is the central mountain ridge where Hebron, Jerusalem, Shiloh, Bethel, and Nablus or Shechem are. And Shechem, the valley of Shechem, and the Arab city of Nablus today are situated between those two mountains, Mount Ebal on the right and Mount Gerizim on the left. Obviously, we can't see this in 3 dimensions from the Google map. So my wife, who I love and cherish, bought me a present for my 40th birthday, a drone. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to fly over the valley of Shechem, Nablus. On the right side, we have Mount Ebal, and on the left side, Mount Gerizim. We can see the slopes going into the valley of Shechem. Now, again, I want you to look at this and understand the Bible is true. The stories that happened there really happened. And the places that are described in the Bible are real places. And what you're looking at right now is what Moses in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 11 referred to. And this is 100%. This is not something that anyone can speculate about. This is true. This is what Moses speaks about. Let's go to the second place where this ceremony is mentioned. Again, in the book of Deuteronomy, repeating the commandment to do this ceremony shows how important this ceremony is. And when you have crossed the Jordan, set up these stones on Mount Ebal, as I command you today, and coat them with plaster. Build there an altar to the Lord your God, an altar of stones. Do not use any iron tool on them. Build the altar of the Lord your God with field stones, and offer burnt offerings on it to the Lord your God. Look at this. This is a specific commandment saying, do the ceremony, but build the altar on which mountain? Not on the mountain of blessing, but on the mountain of curse, Mount Ebal. And what do you do to that altar? It's made out of field stones that are not cut by iron. And you need to plaster them and write the Torah, right? The words of the law on the altar. And so remember this is important. And then Joshua enters the land of Israel with the Israelites. And as Moses' servant, he does exactly what Moses commands. Then Joshua built on Mount Ebal an altar to the Lord, the God of Israel, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded the Israelites. He built it according to what it is written in the book of the law of Moses, an altar of uncut stones on which no iron tool had been used.
Honey, it's a lesson and video.
And so you can see all the attributes, an altar on Mount Ebal made of uncut stones and plastered. So because of this important ceremony, many archaeologists in the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century tried to go and look for that altar, but they couldn't find it. They looked for the altar on the southern slopes of Mount Ebal, those slopes that you saw on the aerial video that I just showed. They couldn't find it. And so what happens is, during the 1960s, you have a group of archaeologists that are non-believers And they are saying, of course you didn't find the altar on Mount Ebal because the story never happened. As we said, Joshua never existed, Moses never existed. Here we can see the academic view of ancient Israel according to the academic world. It is hard to accept, but scholars today are convinced that Israel was not present in Egypt, nor wandered in Sinai. They did not conquer Canaan, nor inherited to the 12 tribes. And the Israelite religion did not adopt monotheism on Mount Sinai, but in the end of the monarchical period. This is what has been taught in schools, in colleges, in universities, all over the world, that the Bible never happened. And so this was the situation until a very dear person, a professor of archaeology by the name of Adam Zertal, a non-believer, a socialist from Kibbutz Ein Shemel, who decided in the 1970s to start a survey of Samaria, of the tribal land of Manasseh. And he starts surveying Mount Ebal, not looking for the altar, and surveying areas that were not researched in the past. And guess what he finds? First of all, he comes to a compound that has a very peculiar shape that doesn't fit the geography. It has a special, it's sort of made out like a footprint, okay? I cannot give you more information about that, but it's one of 6 that were found in the land of Israel that were built by the Israelites. But at that time, he just comes into a compound that he doesn't know how to explain. The compound is divided into a couple of areas, and in the highest point of that compound, there is a very interesting thing. So here's an aerial of the compound, and you can see one of our groups standing inside that compound. And further on in the compound is a place with an interesting structure right here that at the time looked like this. Now what we see here is the first day of the dig, of the excavation, 1982, a big rubble of stone. And in this rubble of stone are a lot of pottery shreds that are identified with the Israelites. And after this period of excavation, they basically peel off the exterior layer of stone. And what they find is an amazing and unexplainable structure. Again, thanks to my dear wife who bought me the drone, we can see a beautiful aerial of this structure. And Professor Adam Zertal doesn't know how to explain it. He goes to parallels in Egypt, in Syria. He's trying to find structures that are similar to this mysterious structure. And he cannot find any parallel. He cannot describe, he cannot explain what this is. And again, Adam Zertal was educated to believe that there is no altar on Mount Ebal because Joshua never existed. Moses never existed. This story should not have happened at all. So Adam Zertal is sitting in the dining hall of the place where they were sleeping during the time of the excavations, and he is sketching the structure that he believed he found. Suddenly, an Orthodox Jew walks by and says to Adam Zertal, "Is this the structure you found?" And Adam Zertal, "Yes, this is what I found on Mount Ebal. I don't know how to explain it. A rectangular platform with a ramp going up, a secondary ramp going around the altar. The structure is made out of field stones. I don't understand what it is." The Orthodox Jew suddenly gets excited, runs away from the dining hall, and comes back with a book. The book is called the Mishnah. It's the oral rabbinical traditions of the Jewish rabbis from the Second Temple period. And he opens the book and he shows Adam Zertal a picture of the altar in the Second Temple period. Both of them are looking at this picture and they're amazed. They see a rectangular shaped structure with a ramp and a secondary ramp. This is the altar of the second temple. And it's very similar to the structure that Adam Zartal found. Adam Zartal looks at this Jew and he says, you understand what this means? This means that this is Joshua's altar. There's no other explanation. And if this is Joshua's altar, then Joshua existed and Moses existed and the Exodus happened. And the Jew looks at Adam Zartal, the Orthodox Jew, and says, of course, what do you mean? So this discovery changed Adam Zartal's view totally, 180 degrees, from a person who believed that the Bible was a mythology to a person who acknowledged that the Bible is true. And when Adam Zartal spoke to our Christian groups coming to Israel, I always presented him as the born-again archaeologist, because he was truly born again because of this discovery. So I would like to end this short lecture and try to connect this story to Tabernacles, to Sukkot. The footprint structure that you saw and the altar were in use not for one day. According to the archaeology, this structure was used for 70 years. This was the main worshiping site of the Israelites early back during the time of the settlement, before it was abandoned, decommissioned, covered by stone, and the central place moved to Shiloh. And so we can imagine, when we visit there, we can imagine the Israelites coming there every year with their family, with the 4 species, and going around the footprint structure, just like today Jews go around the platform in synagogue with the 4 species and are saying Hoshana, Hoshana. And so this is really exciting. So I'm going to just say, if you want to learn more about Joshua's altar, you can visit thealtarofjoshua.com. If you want to invite me to speak at your church about Adam Zartal's discoveries, not just the altar of Joshua, but also the footprint structures and other sites, you can visit wewantaaron.com. And you can find my Bible teachings and books about these discoveries that prove the historicity of the Bible in hiddenisrael.net. I'll be posting all of these links in the chat window of this Zoom program. Thank you all, and Chag Sameach from Israel.
Thank you, Aaron. That was awesome. How awesome was that? That's really, like, I've lived in Israel and I've been all over the country. I haven't been to the altar of Joshua, and it gives such a different meaning. Pastor Mark, we were just talking about Nehemiah, where it says that when they came back, they didn't celebrate Passover, Sukkot, for hundreds of years. Since when? Since the time of Joshua. So not only was that altar, there must have been an incredible Sukkot celebration happening there, because it was the greatest one in hundreds and hundreds of years.
Is Mount Ebal open for tours? Is it safe?
Yes, actually, it's safe, and we're the only travel agency that brings these groups to this site, along with other sites as well, Sebastia, which is ancient Samaria, and some other off the beaten path biblical places. So Donna Jalei and her travel agency with Lipkin Tours together work to promote the tours to Judea and Samaria. So we'd love to have you and bring you. We host hundreds of Christian tourists there. And I have to tell you, out of all the places, this is probably the place that excites everyone, because it's so clean. It's a one layer site. There's no Crusader, Muslim, Mamluk, Roman layers. It's just you're touching Joshua when you're standing there. There's nothing else. And we have people there crying, worshiping, praying. It's just amazing to be there.
All right, well, thank you, Aaron. We have to keep moving. There's so much to see in Israel, and it's a pleasure to be able to introduce you to my new friend, Akiva Gersh, who is going to take us even to a new place. Akiva, tell us where you're taking us now.
Shalom, everybody. Shalom, everybody. So incredible to be here, especially after that incredibly inspiring learning about the ancient historical sites that just play into our modern day lives today. So really such a pleasure to be here with everybody, and such an honor to be part of this incredible gathering of people. I mean, that's what we're doing right now. We're gathering together, right, to celebrate, to be together. In a moment, we're going to sing together. That's why I brought my guitar. We're going to praise together. We're going to worship together, right? When Jews and Christians get together, we don't just talk, right? We have to praise, we have to pray, we have to worship as well. And it's just such an incredible thing that's going on right now. Just for one moment before we jump into our first song, just have like a moment of recognition, a moment of awareness of what's happening right now. You know, we're all like sitting in our own homes, wherever we are in the world, like using this incredible modern technology of Zoom to be together and to come together and to celebrate what we hold in common, right? The whole world is always talking, especially these days, about what separates us, what divides us. Like, we're living in such a divisive world today, right? But it overshadows, unfortunately, all the things we have in common. And we know that Jews and Christians have so many things in common. Look at me, I'm a Jew living in the land of Israel. I grew up in New York, as you can maybe tell from my accent. I had the blessing and the privilege to move here to the Holy Land of Israel 16 years ago. And I'm a Jew. I'm a proud Jew. I'm like connected to this land. And it's such an honor and a pleasure to connect to all of you, beautiful Christians, right? All together, we're children of God. It says in the Torah, it says in the Holy Bible, right? Atem banim l'Hashem, you're children of God, right? What's the worst thing for a parent to experience? The worst thing ever, worse than debt, worse than, I don't know what else you might think of. The worst thing is to see your kids fighting. Right? It's the worst thing. And the best thing on the other side is to see your kids getting along. When I see my kids, Baruch Hashem, thank God I have 4 children, all born here in the land of Israel. And when I see them getting along and playing and laughing and giggling together, it's like, it's Gan Eden. It's the Garden of Eden already. It's already paradise. It's already redemption. It's already like the Messianic age has come to this world, right? When I see my kids getting along, right? So on our level, when we get together, we get along and we be together, and we pray together, and we celebrate together, and we recognize our greatest similarities, right? Of which I think the most powerful are our love for God and our love for Israel, right? So taking all of that, let's celebrate a little bit, right? It's Sukkot, it's a time of celebration. It's, as we say in Hebrew, Zman Simchatenu. It's the time of our rejoicing. It's the highest point of the year when it comes to celebration. And that's why this, of all Jewish holidays, is the most open. It's the most universal. It's calling out to the whole world, come to Jerusalem, come to the Holy Mountain, right? And let's be together, let's sing together, let's pray together. And I don't know if you guys know, but on this, the 7 days of Sukkot, and every night of Sukkot, every day of Sukkot, we invite, so to speak, another one of the patriarchs, right? The first night was Abraham. The second night, last night, was Isaac, Yitzchak. Tonight, you know who tonight is? Yaakov, Jacob. And we were just learning with Aram Lipkin about the Israelites. Israelites, how many times did we hear the word Israelites? Well, that word obviously comes from Yisrael, who is Jacob. Jacob is Israel, right? And this is his night. The third night of Sukkot is his night to come into the Sukkah and to celebrate with all of us, right? And we know that Jacob was so connected to Jerusalem. Right, before there was the capital of Jerusalem, before there was King David, there was Jacob coming and laying down on the ground and having his sleep, which brought the dream, connecting Jerusalem and Beit El, right? And the ladder and the angels going up and down, right? He knew when he woke up, he was in a holy place, right? Ma Noah Hamakom Hazeh, he said. How awesome is this place? That's Jerusalem. How awesome is Jerusalem? How awesome is the land of Israel? So I'm going to take you guys a little bit to Jerusalem right now, musically, spiritually, and I know you guys have spirit. I know you have spirit. I can see it all over your faces already through the squares on the Zoom. So I'm going to sing with you guys. At first, I'm going to sing for you. And then once you learn it, you're going to sing with me. And we're all going to sing together. It's a very simple song. It's got 3 chords on the guitar and 1 line of words. And the words go, Lishana Haba'a B'Yushalayim Habnuya. 4 words. Lishana Haba'a B'Yushalayim Habnuya, which means next year in the rebuilt Jerusalem. We say this at the end of the Passover Seder. We said it a few days ago at the end of Yom Kippur, and we're going to say it again tonight on the night of Jacob, because Jacob was connected so deeply to Jerusalem. Next year in a rebuilt Jerusalem. The song goes like this. Let's get a good keeper. I think the C is better. If I need to raise up a little bit, I will. You guys will follow me? I think we're going to raise up already. Here we go. We can do it. We can do it. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I ask all of you guys, and I know I don't even need to ask, but I ask you guys to open up your mouths and sing and praise with me, worship with me. You and I, all of us together, Jews and Christians together, right? Praising and bringing such joy to God and spreading that joy over the whole world. Right, from the Holy Land, from the holy city of Jerusalem. Shana haba, Shana haba, Shana haba, Yerushalayim. Shana haba, Shana haba, Shana haba, Yerushalayim. Shana haba, Yerushalayim, Hallelujah. Next year, Shana haba, Yerushalayim, Hallelujah. Just sing. If you feel the love of the Spirit, let's raise our hands. Here we go. Here we go. You know what? We're going to cut this song a little short, but don't worry. We got one more coming from Tuli's okay with that. We get the thumbs up from Tuli, yeah? To keep going, one more song. Here we go, yes. All right, we're going to sing one more song because it's amazing to sing about Jacob, or to think about Jacob and to sing about the holy city of Jerusalem in his name. But, you know, King David would be like, what about me, right? I established the holy city of Jerusalem as the eternal capital of the Jewish people. What about me, right? So we're going to sing one more song tonight to really wrap up this beautiful and important night. As we get together and we learn together, and we praise together, and as we sing together. And we're going to take words of King David. I know you guys know these words. We're going to take words that King David wrote in the holy city of Jerusalem 3,000 years ago in the book of Psalms. Right? He wrote the words, the beautiful words in Hebrew. Ata takum drachim Zion, ki et lechenina kiva moed. He said, Ata takum, you'll rise up and you'll have mercy on Zion. Right? You will have grace because the time has come. The time has come for grace, for compassion, for mercy. Kiva moed. The time has come. You can see the words in the chat. Thank you, Yoni. All right, we'll sing it maybe just once or twice with the Hebrew words, and then we'll leave the words behind and just sing the melody. Right, but these are the words of King David, right, giving us hope and faith that one day, Kiva Moed, the day will come, the time will come. But you know what? On some level, the time has come already. The time has come right now. You and I coming together, being together, Jews and Christians, the children of God, singing together, praising together, loving together. The time has already come. This is the time. We can feel it already right now. So I'm going to start the song. You guys can join with me. Here we go. Atatakum terachem Zion, ki elechenina kiva moed. Atatakum terachem Zion, ki elechenina kiva moed. Atatakum terachem Zion, ki Kivamoed. Try that, those 3 words. Kivamoed. Here we go again. Kivamoed. Here we go. Oh yeah, Kivamoed. You know what we're gonna do right now, guys? Kivamoed. We're just gonna sing those 3 words. Kivamoed. It means the time has come. Kivamoed. Sukkot is all about recognizing that. Kivamoed. Hi, nai, 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 hi, nai, 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 hi, nai, nai, up a bite, hi, nai, nai, bye, nai, nai, hi, nai, nai, up a bite, hi, nai, nai, up a bite. If you feel it in the spirit, let's clap your hands together, my friends. Kivamoed. Let's hear it now. Kivamoed. Yeah, the time has come. Kivamoed. Yes, it has. We're going to switch to English now, my friends, okay? We're going to sing the same melody in English. The time it has come. Sing with me, my friends. The time it has come. Wherever you are, sing. The time it has come. Let God hear our prayers. The time it has come. Oh, yes, it has. The time it has come. It's the time it has come. Yes, it has. The time it has come. Here we go. The time it has come. Without the guitar now. The time it has come. Oh, yes, the time it has come. Yes, praise the Lord, the time it has come. Oh, yes, the time it has come. Here we go, keep it going now. The time it has come. Hallelujah, the time it has come. Here we go. Oh, yes, the time it has come. Oh, yes, the time it has come. One more time all together. The time it has come. Oh, yes, the time it has come. Oh, yes, the time it has come. Oh, yes, the time it has come. If I can just end with Rav Tuli's permission, just with one last little thought, right? It's unbelievable that we see in the Bible, we see in the Holy Bible, that one of the places where Jacob, Israel, dwelt with his family was a place that he called Sukkot, right?
Yes.
Jacob, look in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, he built and he dwelt in Sukkot. He understood that the sukkah of the holiday of Sukkot is this place, is this special, special place in which we strengthen our faith, strengthen our belief, strengthen our confidence in what we believe, and we don't give in to anyone or anything in the world because we know we have our belief in our truth, right? And that's the most important thing in this world, right? Sukkot, this holiday, we wave the species, we sit in the sukkah, we eat and we drink and we celebrate. It's all about believing in ourselves, and it sounds kind of weird, but believing in our faith, having faith in our faith. We're living in such crazy times right now that we need not only to have faith, we need to have faith in our faith. We need to believe in what we believe. We have to encourage ourselves that, no, it's okay to believe what I believe, even if the world out there believes something else, right? To encourage ourselves and each other. And most important for the theme of what's happening tonight, which I think is the most amazing, to come together, to show God, we love you, we love each other, and all of us together are your children. And there's no better way to show how much you love God, right? By showing love to your brothers and your sisters. So thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with all of you tonight.
Absolutely. That was awesome, Akiva. Let's hear it for Akiva.
Hallelujah.
Thank you so much. Somebody is blessing the shofar. Thank you, Douglas.
That was beautiful.
And wow, 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 wow. This is exactly what Sukkot is meant to be. Thank you all. And if you didn't catch everything, I think there was people even trying to get in who Zoom locked us out. Unfortunately, we're going to send you the recording.
Well, it depends.
We'll send everybody the recording. And if you want to stay connected with Israel 365, go to our website, israel365.com, and you could get newsletters from us every day. We do a lot of great things to connect Christians to Israel on a daily basis, and we do a lot of humanitarian and charitable work. Really, thanks to partners like Pastor Mark and El Shaddai Ministries, we're able to support Holocaust survivors and poor people who are now, there's so many people who are newly poor, people who are now struggling to put food on their table because they've been laid off of their jobs because of the coronavirus. And thanks to Pastor Mark and El Shaddai Ministries, we're able to help people every single day. And so thank you all for joining us and making my Sukkot that much happier. Pastor Mark, what do you have?
Well, thank you. Well, I was just going to say, what a wonderful thing with Sukkot. The nations are supposed to come up to Jerusalem, and I don't know how many nations you have on this Zoom call, but I just think it's great that we have people, Jews, Christians, all united together, coming together to keep the festival of Sukkot.
Awesome, awesome. So thank you all for coming. Shalom, shalom. And